Good afternoon, it's Matt from Walks Preston, and in the studio today we've got Rob and Ron. You've met Rob and Ron before, but we'll let them say hello. Hi Ron.
Hi everyone, hi Matt, hi Rob.
Ron, where are you coming in from today?
Walks Thames Valley, located in close to Maidenhead, Berkshire.
Great. And Rob?
Yeah, I'm in Wareham, which is just this side of Cork, in Dorset, on the edge of the Purbecks, really.
Fantastic. So today we are introducing to you viewers the routes for the 16 miler and the 27 miler. We've had that confirmation from the route planners. So what I'm going to do is try and share my screen. And oh, what's happened there? Give me 1 second. Oh, there's something with technology, isn't there? There we go. Share the screen. There's the routes. Let's share. Good. Guys, can you see that? Purbeck Marathon Alternative Route 2.
Yeah.
So clearly we can see on there Swanage in the bottom right and the coastal path, and then as it goes further left on the screen, that's where the route changes, I believe. So over to you, Rob. You're the local on the ground expert, so give us some feedback on that, please.
Okay, so the route starts and finishes like it used to. You come up from Swanage up to Durlston Castle. So as you look at, well, I'm pointing to, I don't know if you can see me pointing to the map. Round, that's it, where you're going along there, out and along the coast. That's pretty flat. Okay, you're up on the edge of the cliff. It turns in where you are into Seacombe. That's a climb. You're up on the ridge. You go into Worth, past the square and compass path. You go around Hill Bottom where you are there. So that's, again, you're going around the hill. Then you're climbing up to Kingston.
Right.
And that point where you are now is Kingston, the village. If you're on the 16 miler, you pretty much head directly north towards Corfe. You go across Corfe Common and pick up the route over the other side. Mm-hmm. So at the moment, the route is the same as it was. You go left, which is west, out to Swire Heads. Beautiful views along the Jurassic Coast from Swire Head. You come down towards Kimmeridge, and I mean, not actually in Kimmeridge, but you look across. Now, this is where I looked at the new route, I thought, oh my God, that's still in the firing ranges. But there's a sign there saying it's the firing ranges, because pretty much you got half an hour walk back if they hadn't put the sign there. So it's actually, you can cross the road at Kimmeridge, carry on as though you're going out towards Walborough, but about 200 meters from the firing ranges, you go down into Steeple Wood, and it's not even a village really, a hamlet of Steeple. Pick up the road and climb up, basically up to the top of the ridge where you are there. Mm-hmm. And then you're up on the ridge. If you look behind you, you'll be able to see Portland and out towards Weymouth, and you're walking back east now, up on the ridge, looking over towards Poole Harbour on your left, Church Knoll on your right, but you're up on the ridge. You're going to have cattle up there. Anybody that's a little bit worried about that, they're going to be up there. And then as you carry on, keep going along, you need to come down off that ridge. So that's they've got nothing super steep. I mean, you have got inclines, but it's not going directly up. You're diagonally coming up and down the hills. It's not too bad. So you come off the ridge into Corfe, through the village of Corfe and across the railway line, and then up on East Hill, the other side.
Yeah, I remember.
And then again, you're along the ridge. So you're not climbing. You're along the, well, it's a slight. That's a lie. You are climbing, but it's not. It's not steep. steep climb. Again, you've got views out over Poole Harbour, Brownsea Island. Well, you have if it's a nice day. You haven't if it's you're going to be up in the clouds. Come back down to Olwell and cross the road there. Now you could a quick way up. Well, it's not. It's steep, but they're not going that way. You're going along diagonally up the side of the ridge, North Hill. And once you're up on the top again, you're going to have great views of Swanage Bay and over the other side, looking towards Poole and Bournemouth and the Isle of Wight. Again, is you know, once you're up there, it's okay. You go out towards Ballard Down as though you're going to Old Harry Rocks. You get to a point there and you turn and come back, which is going to be a lot closer to the edge of the cliffs. It's a path I haven't done for a while, but you come back round and then down the sides, down back into Swanage. So you have got a couple of extra climbs towards the end there compared to the 16 miler. If we go back to Olwell, you just cross, basically you just come into Swanage.
If I switch to the 16 miler route, should we look at that?
Yeah, I mean,
can you see that now?
yeah, so you can see you don't go out west. You just cut across the cop, so it's much more circular. So
yeah, there's probably to this point here, we're kind of the same route, aren't we?
That's all the same. So that's a climb up to Kingston, and rather than going left and it's fairly flat, going left, you go down in the valley down to Corfe, which is fairly straightforward. You'll be okay with that. Then you got the climb back up on the ridge. But the point I was making at the end, because once you're through Corfe, it's the same. It's the same until you get to Olwell. And there on the 27 miler, you've got another fairly high climb up North Hill, and then you have to obviously get back off North Hill. Whereas the 16 stays pretty much sea level. You're just walking. I mean, it's quite a walk into Swanage, but you're not having to climb. So you've got a couple of climbs at the end of the route that you might have not done on the old 27. Well, you wouldn't have done on the old 27 mile route.
Right.
So
yeah.
It's steep. It's steeper at the end with a climb.
Memories of the drop down towards the coast, which seems to be this route here. But if we flick back to the 27 miler, yeah, that changes the profile.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry, Matt. You drop down, but then you climb back up out the other side.
Yeah.
So it's back up high, up on the ridge again, and out to Ballard Point and Old Harry, and then it's a fairly steep climb. Well, I say climb, decline. You're coming back down the hill, down the coast path, down the side, looking over Swanage Bay.
Wow. Yeah, let's put it on the 6.
So yeah, it's harder. It's harder towards the end. But what you do miss out is the hill at Walborough, which, well, you don't actually miss it out because you've got to get back up to the ridge, but further along at Steeple. So potentially it could be slightly harder.
I think from my perspective, having done the 27 miler a couple of times, having those extra climbs at the end will be quite a challenge on top of what people may have been used to if they've not done it before. Again, we're talking about this whole training program that we've put together with the ability for people to build up the distance and the time on the feet and the hills and drills and things like that. I think the program and people sticking to that relatively, fluidly, flexibly, they should be fine to do that route. But I see in the imagery that difference here on the 16 miler coasting down towards Swanage, whereas the 27 mile has got that quite steep down, back up, down, up and down again.
Yeah.
Once you're already a little bit fatigued from the distance of the previous 20 odd miles. Ron, you're familiar with the 16 miler, and again, it's actually 17 miles. That if we read the text around that, it's a little bit longer than 16 miles, but I don't know why they originally called it the 16 miler. But you're familiar with this route, aren't you?
I am indeed, yes.
What are your memories of this?
Well, leaving the start point there, there's the tarmac road until you joined a coastal path. And my comments are as follows. You follow that coastal path with some stunning views, and I can remember the stiles. So if you're out on the front, you won't get stuck in those in the queues to get over the stiles, or you can do some hopping over stile training to add to your hill training. Climbing over stiles in an efficient way, and then you come along the coastline, and just at that point to get there, just as you turn inland, you hit the first incline there that climbs up to 150 meters, and then it's along fairly flat again now, along tracks and tarmac roads. And then as you're still moving that pointer along, you start to turn north, and then you've got a further climb up here, again up to 150 meters. And then it comes downhill slightly. Not so, I don't think it's so, it's as much as exaggerated on that chart, but it doesn't seem like that. That's that steep a descent all the way. It's fairly flat all the way into Corfe. Once you get to Corfe, you cross the road, cross the railway line, and then you start that climb. And it's that climb,
a big long climb, isn't it?
That big long climb that can tire people out. I always start to take some sort of energy supplements while I'm approaching Corfe, either jelly babies, an energy gel, carb-based drink. So that climb can be quite tiring. So once you get to the top, there at 193 meters, you start the descent down through what I can remember is a path, and then it hits into a narrow path as you're approaching a caravan park.
Quite stony, that path as well, isn't it?
Yes, and it's quite narrow. Yes, there's sometimes you get blackberry bushes and sting nettles on the side there. So if you're wearing long trousers or long socks, you then come into the roadway all the way down into Swanage. The only other thing I've got to comment on is the signposting. I've done that route 4 times, and 3 out of the 4 times I've taken a wrong turning at different points.
Okay.
Some people download it and put it as a GPX file on their phone, but I haven't. I really haven't got time to look at my phone while I'm walking.
I have to remember when I did it a good few years back, there was a couple. They were probably in the 60s, and they'd come over from Scandinavia somewhere. I forget the name of the chap, but he puts on videos on YouTube. But I remember when we were on the coastal path, there was a couple of points where I was like, oh, I'm not sure where I'm going here, because I was kind of right out in the lead. And I ended up having to walk back about 20 minutes at one point, but he waltzed past at a moment, and it was evident at that time, and I wasn't aware of this technology at the time, but he had it on his phone mapped out, and he was kind of literally following or listening to that. So we're looking at the map on Outdoor Active, and if you import that GPX into your phone or you create it yourself, it will talk to you. Again, there's upsides and downsides of that. Sometimes the GPS signal might say you're off track, and if you're focusing on the technology rather than the path and the route itself, you might question yourself whether you're in the right place. The other side is the battery life of your phone. If you're tracking your walk, you're out for several hours, and you might take a few photographs or whatever, then you might need a battery backup for the phone, which is extra weight to carry.
I think that the couple you were talking about, they were. He was dressed in black, wasn't he? I think there was two of them. Finnish, and he did a GoPro.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I remember them. Remember them well.
Yeah, he clearly had like he knew where he was going, and I was kind of trepidation, sort of, is this right? Am I going the right way or not? In a couple of places, and that was where I lost time, unfortunately. But yeah, you mentioned along this coastal path here, the stiles, and my memory is I just went straight through them. I was maybe fortunate enough to be up in the front and not being caught behind someone. So those are those risk factors of, if you are trying to do it and you're trying to get a time, but you're somewhere in the middle of the pack, you might be kind of caught up unless you've learnt a bit of stylish style hopping.
I did watch a video the other day of a walking endurance challenge route, and part of the video was actually training yourself to get over a style efficiently and over different types of styles as well.
Okay. Yeah, grief. I would just be trying to leap over. But again, that depends on your age, ability, mobility, flexibility, comfortableness, tackling things like that. Because even styles sometimes they're rickety and tight squeeze, so not always the easiest things to get over. Great, guys, thanks for sharing that. Rob, have you got any other comments on either of those?
Well, no, I mean, if you, I would download Outdoor Active, I think, because you can layer over it as a template, and then just follow the track.
Yeah.
And for that distance, I'd definitely buy a battery charger.
Yeah, I've just bought one recently. I'd seen a post somewhere about in one of these long distance walking groups, and someone was saying, I've been out for several days and I keep losing my charge by the end of the walk, for tracking the walks. And someone said, oh, you got to get this brand. So I bought that brand. It's supposed to be able to charge your phone about 5 or 6 times, and it's about the size of my Samsung A51. So it's the same size as in length and height, but the thickness is probably twice the thickness of the phone. It's quite a chunky, heavy thing, but yeah.
I mean, but it's going to save you 20 minutes, isn't it? And the stress of thinking, am I on the right path? Yeah. I would download it, and well, this is what I do personally. And because I've been out tracking and I've run out of battery, I made all the mistakes you can make on tracking routes, and battery gone. So for that distance, I would definitely get a battery charger. They're going to be heavier than your phone, but they're about the same size as your phone. And I was really surprised. The Samsung one was only about 15, 20 quid. I was expecting it to be a fair bit more than that, considering it was sort of a branded charger.
Yeah, I paid up to about 20 quid, I think. And I thought, that was worthwhile for the knowledge of the times that I will get the use out of it, specifically for things like this, where, you're out tracking routes, wrecking routes, doing a long distance walk. And you don't want to get, if we're coming from Preston to Purbeck and we're out on a new route that we've not done before, or if you've never done it before, you get 3/4 of the way around, your phone runs out, you don't know whether the signage is there or not. You could be really kind of getting a sweat on if
no, because yeah, I mean, I'm looking at that map, and because I'm local, it feels obvious, but I've been tracking routes for the festival, and if there's a couple of paths, I'm not really sure which one, so it's not going to be obvious. So I don't know how. I hope the signage is good, but if you can download it, I'd have a little play. I think it's going to save you time.
Yeah, locally in Preston, we've been sending our guys, some of our local guys, off on what we call Walk of the Week, and they've been getting those maps on Outdoor Active, so they're a little bit more practiced and familiar with using it. And there have been some feedback of sometimes, it's not, the GPS is not there, it's telling me to go left when I think I should be going right and whatever else. But for 95% of the time, if you've had a little look at the route before you go out and you've got it on your phone and you had a little think about it, then and that's all that pre-preparation and planning of your own journey and experience.
I mean, from that top, we're looking at the map there, that top part of the map, it's pretty much along the ridge, and but then you might get lost actually going through the village of Corfu, getting across, finding the crossing and getting across the station, the railway line, and then it's fairly straightforward along the ridge again, and it's pretty straightforward along the coast. But then you've got the little bits in between that.
Yeah, I was just going to say the difficulty I had was at this point here where we turn off the coastal path. If you're on the coastal path, you've got the sea on the left, you can kind of make those visual tracking clear, objectives where I'm going. But when it curls in and twists around and goes inland, you lose a bit of that spatial orientation. The top path on the way back to the coast, you're roughly going in a straight line towards the sea, but it's just where it kind of kinks, or even that bit in Corfu where you're coming out of Corfu and then you've got to go over the railway line. There's a couple of little S-bends in Corfu that make it that little bit.
Yeah, that's because you kind of double back on yourself to get back up the hill.
Yeah.
And so you kind of think, well, I'm going the wrong way. So yeah, for little bits like that. Try and print this so you've got an idea. I would personally, because you are pretty much out in the middle of, the countryside, out in the middle of nowhere. There, so you pretty much want to know where you're going. I would have thought, especially if you're leading, you can't follow anybody.
Yeah. No, great. Well, we can maybe revisit parts of the route in subsequent weeks. Maybe get a little video from some parts of it live on the route itself, Rob.
Well, I'm out there what day is it? Friday today. Yeah, I'm out there tomorrow. I've got to walk I'm doing the front end of the walk, so starting at the start point, going up to Dilston and going along to not that far. It's about 10 miles. And then I'm looping back. So I'm going, so all along. Actually, I'm making it harder than it actually is, because I'm going up and down that ridge to get some more hill training in, and then rather than coming up through the valley, coming up the side of the valley, which is super steep, and then back along the top part, back to Dalston and Swanage. So yeah, I can do it live if you fancy it.
Or just grab a couple of video
clips. Put some videos up. Yeah. So I'm out along that bottom part of it from Swanage through to Seacombe tomorrow, and
great.
Yeah, it's about a 10-mile walk, so it should be. See how we go.
Fab. Right.
Okay.
Chaps, thank you for sharing your time with us, and we'll finish off today, but we'll be back on with more information about the route and more training tips and things like that in preparation for getting it's not long now, a couple of months we'll be there.
Yes, indeed. Okay,
right, Matt, I was just going to say, Lauren's got about a five-hour walk on tomorrow for practice, if anybody wants to sign up. Sunday.
A 5-hour walk, excellent.
So she's not on the route, but she's doing a long training route. She's got a bunch of people that are doing the walk. So she's got a really long one on Sunday.
Fab. Right. Well, if anyone's watched this, hearing this, and are able to book on, then get yourselves on. Definitely. Guys, thank you
very much.
You take care. Have a nice weekend, and see you soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you.